Maybe. Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. We are here live tonight on this Tuesday, December 29th. And tonight we have an incredible guest. His name is Mark Schinnerer. And we are super excited because if you can see a little bit behind him, he has something that's really, really interesting. It is a book that we're going to be talking about. Yeah, he's got it on both sides. Check him out. It's a book we're going to be talking about that's really going to help you set up for some success in 2021. But there's a key to it all, right? So before I go on any further, let's see how many people are popping up here live. And we welcome you all this evening. And thank you. Look at that. We've got people popping up here now. Thank you so much for joining us this evening for this 30-minute amazing Beacon of Light podcast to really show your success is all possible. And Mark is going to teach us some incredible lessons and show us some great results and possible benefits that are in his book. And as you know, just kind of another positive, he's an award-winning author, just because he's amazing. So there you go. Thank you, Mark, for joining us this evening. I am down here in Kyle, Texas. And Mark, where are you broadcasting from this evening?
I am in Carlsbad, New Mexico.
Excellent. I gone to see the Bat Caves recently?
I haven't been there in a while. It's like after you do it 2 or 3 times, whenever your family comes down, you say, it's 35 miles south of town. Go have fun, and I'll see you when you get back.
There you go. There you go. Okay, Mark. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, and let's jump on into this topic.
All right. Well, I grew up on a farm in Kansas. And when you read through the book, the setting is on a farm, and the book reads like an allegory, I guess. That's what I call it, an allegory. It's not a parable. It's more like an allegory. And the character ends up on this farm. And so I used a lot of the events that happened to me growing up on the farm in the book. And I use it to teach principles for success and how to set goals, because that's all that farmers really do is they plan, they have a plan, they set goals, and then they have a harvest, and they have to deal with weeds and storms and all those things that come up that they have to deal with. So that's the basis of how the book is written in the story. And you learn, I call it 8 elements for achieving your goals. And you learn the 8 elements in the book for how you can achieve your goals. After I got out of college, I didn't go back to the farm. And I started out in business, working at a university. And then I moved out here to Carlsbad, New Mexico a number of years ago, and started working for a nonprofit organization as a nursing home administrator. And today I am the CEO of a nonprofit organization that works with special needs adults. In that journey, I spent a lot of years, I call it working on myself, personal growth and development, working on myself, because I figured I can always be better. And that's helped me in my career in the long-term healthcare field and working as an administrator and now a CEO. But what I came to realize, like everybody else, we just go through life as it comes to us. And we just kind of let life happen to us and take the next step and maybe take the next opportunity and go forward with that. There was a couple of times that I can recall when I actually wrote down some goals, and they were really income goals. And I can remember 2 specific times where I wrote down an income goal way more than I was making at the time. And I don't know why I wrote it down. all of this personal development I was reading about goals and goal setting, and I wrote it down. Didn't give it a second thought, really. And then I actually achieved that income goal. And I remember writing down another income goal, much larger. And again, just really didn't think about the process and what was going on. And over time, I achieved that goal and then surpassed that goal. It then occurred to me that we learn about setting goals, sort of. We know that we hear that we should set goals. And most people maybe set goals, but they don't write them down. And I realized that the power of writing down a goal, and then when I did the research about what happens when you write down your goals, it's very powerful. If you write down your goal, you have I think it's a 72% greater chance of achieving your goal if you actually write it down. And so as I was learning that about writing down goals, I had this idea of a book. It took me 8 years with this book in my head before I actually wrote the book that's now The Success Grower, the one behind me here. And it occurred to me that we don't learn how to set goals. We don't learn how to do it correctly. And we're told a lot about how to set New Year's resolutions. And so I struggled with this concept of this book, and it bugged me for 8 long years. And all the while, I was a CEO of this organization, and I was leading people. And I do a lot of leadership training, but I was leading people and teaching them how to strive for more in their life and help them get more in their life and help them to advance in their careers. But it became really apparent to me that there needed to be a process. And what I found out was maybe you're told how to set a goal. Maybe you even have learned or read how to set a goal, but nobody teaches you how to create the plan to go with the goal. And that's when the book really kind of started to gel, because in the book, I really talk a lot about you have to have a plan for your life. You have to have a plan for your goals. You can set a goal all day long if you want to, but if you don't have a plan how to achieve it, you probably won't accomplish that goal.
So this is really interesting that you had written long ago, you had written a finance goal, kind of put it aside, not really thought much about it. Then you succeeded past that, wrote down another one, didn't think much about it, succeeded past that even more so. And now you're saying you have to have a plan. So tell me how that story connects with this story that you're sharing.
So it's interesting. I really didn't connect the two at the time. But for me, the plan ended up being looking for and taking the next opportunity. Because what I found out in my life was I would reach a point in my life where I would become frustrated with where I'm at. And it might be personal frustration. It might be frustration with my work. And so I created a plan. This has been many years ago. I created a plan then to start my own business. And this was in between the two income goals. And I created this plan to start my own business. And interestingly, within just a few short weeks of leaving one job, starting this business, I received a phone call from a friend who was a board member of the current organization I work for. And he said, "Hey, Mark, we're looking for a CEO. You should apply." And so I did. And when I got that job, I reached the second income goal. And it's interesting because that was not the plan I had, but because the plan I had was to start a business. But I firmly believe that once you create a goal and once you have a plan, opportunities are presented to us. And we have the opportunity to choose that or not.
So what you're
And even
saying,
though it didn't really fit in with the plan I wanted, it was in a business I knew and I had a lot of success in. And so the plan may have changed, but the goal was the same.
so that's really interesting, is it's almost like you allowed whatever, like you put together a plan. This was the idea. As the opportunity arose, you did not take, you looked at the opportunity and you didn't say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to do my own business over here. You looked at the opportunity and thought, okay, I know how to do these things. It's an opportunity that wasn't there prior to. Then you take advantage of it. And it wasn't that, like you said, that was the plan necessarily, but because you had taken action, you were led to the right next step. So maybe what it is we can plan, we have a goal, we make a plan, and as the opportunities come down, possibly we let go of, like the control of, no, no, this is my plan, and maybe allow for the opportunity to guide our plan, because we have to start somewhere, right? The
Yeah,
action in making a plan is important, and sometimes it follows right along with it, and sometimes it doesn't. And the point is taking action, writing it down, making a plan allows the opportunity to arrive to a place that might even be better than what you had originally thought. Am I getting that right?
exactly. Exactly.
Oh,
And most people are afraid to take the risk. Most people are afraid to take the option because it moves them out of their comfort zone. And we love to live inside of our comfort zone. We love being in this little box that we're in. And anytime we have an opportunity that's outside of that, we judge it. And the successful people are the ones who judge it with an open mind and say, what is the opportunity in this for me? Some of them don't have opportunities. Some of them are not good, but some of them have greater opportunities. And truly, I ended up with greater opportunities in this position than I would have if I had kept that business. I use an analogy a lot of times of the Google Maps app on your phone. You put in a destination where you want to go. That's your goal. It knows where you are. That's your starting point where you are today. And if you go into the details of that, well, first of all, it may show you more than one route. And so you get to choose which route you're going to take. And then you go into the details and it'll show you turn by turn by turn directions. And I use this as an analogy for setting goals, because once you set a goal, the turn by turn directions is your plan, how to get there. But sometimes as you're going along the road, you run into a roadblock or construction that maybe the map app didn't know was there because it's really new. And you have to change directions. And so you change and you go in a new direction, but your goal is still the same. So, ultimately my goal maybe wasn't necessarily that I was going to build this business. My goal was more of a personal growth and leadership, because for me, it was really about leadership and leading an organization. That's really what my goal was. I just thought building a business was the path to get there, but found the destination of my goal in a different place. The destination was a lot the same, but the path to get there was totally different.
wow. So that really gives a lot of hope. But like you said, the comfort that we like to stay in, I wrote my whole book about this part, and Out of Darkness is, I call it a comfort cage, because we feel comfortable there, whether it's healthy, not healthy, whatever, but we've built this cage all around us out of our fear, out of our lies, out of the risk, right? Out of the stories that we tell ourselves. Oh, there's no way we could try out in there. And when we finally do, and the people that are successful, they step out into what I call the learning zone, right? That's going to be a place where there'll be ups and downs, there'll be fails, there'll be wins, there'll be losses, there'll be lots of different things, but that's where the growth happens, right? So in all of that, the planning was started. You took action. You left your comfort zone, your comfort cage. Now you're in the learning zone and you're trying and you're kind of doing up and down, and the turn by turn by turn that you thought was going to get you to that place, it's not exactly happening in the way that you thought. And if you're holding on and trying to control it all, you're going to have a terrible time. But if you allow the opportunities to be there and try that one and try this one, the success and your perspective, what I call in our recovery road, right? Because there's time afterwards to ponder, to think. The hindsight is 2020, right? You get to see these perspectives like, wow.
Right.
That it's brilliant, Mark. It's brilliant. So I can see why it's an award-winning book. Have to say that. I mean, awesome. So with these 8 steps or 8 key points in the book, what is something that you want to share with us tonight that maybe kind of surprised you or helped to gel it together while you had been thinking about, putting this book, after all those years together? What was something that really sticks out to you tonight?
When I put the book together, it really concerned me about how to deal with the challenges that come up. Because anytime, in life, we have challenges in our life no matter what. But once you set a goal, even more challenges will confront you. And that's just a natural part of life, because I think life wants to test our commitment. Life wants to test our dedication to what we're doing. And as I was using this idea of being on the farm and how that worked, it occurred to me that we dealt with 2 really big issues that would confront us on the farm. The first one were I call them weeds in the book. One of the elements is called weeds. And I say there are 3 weeds in our life, 3 different kinds of weeds. The weeds that we plant. So it's our own doubts, it's our own fears, it's our own vulnerabilities, and this box we put ourselves in. Then there are the weeds that other people plant in our lives. Those weeds are the people who want to hold you back, the people who want to basically put their fear on you, because your friends will say, why do you want to do that? Why do you want to put your money on the line? Why do you want to spend all this time doing this work? Why do you want to try and accomplish this goal when you've never done anything like that before? It's almost an attitude of, who do you think you are? And they only do that because they are afraid that you will succeed. Because if you succeed, then they feel bad about themselves. So they plant these weeds in your life to hold you back. And then the third kind of weeds it's like weeds of society. It's weeds that our society plants. So it's rules, regulations, all those things we have to deal with in our life. And no matter if you're in business, if you have your own business, or you're in education, it doesn't matter. There are rules that you have to follow, and sometimes they don't work out for you very well, and they try and stop us from what we're doing. And so I classified those 3 weeds. The other concept in the book, the other element in the book, I call storms. Storms are the big ones. We have many kinds of storms in our life. The biggest storm that we all have lived with in 2020 is called COVID-19. A lot of people have been almost destroyed by this storm of COVID-19. A lot of people have been delayed in their life because of COVID-19, because of this storm. We have other storms of illness. Cancer is a big one. We have storms of tragedy and death, the death of a spouse, the death of a loved one, whatever it might be. We have storms of losing a job. And so these are the big ones that even though, and a lot of strong people who set goals and they have a really great plan to achieve their goal, once they hit the storms, they stop. because they can't see past the storm. And what I teach in my program, and what you learn in the book and what I teach in my program, is storms have an end. The storm will be over. The sun will come up again. You just have to get through the storm. And the best way to do that is to, first of all, know that the storms will happen. And if you know that the storms will happen in your life, you can mentally prepare yourself to deal with them. They may be horrible and tragic, but if you've at least had the taken the time to consider how you will mentally deal with the storms that confront you in your life, you can get through to the other side.
That's really great advice.
There's a saying, and I don't know if it's an old Chinese proverb or what, but there's a saying that goes, a tree is stronger being bent by the wind. If a tree grows in a greenhouse, it will become very, very weak. But a tree, as it grows, that gets blown back and forth by the wind, becomes stronger and stronger as it grows. And it's the same way in our life. When we deal with storms in our life, as long as we know that we're going to get through to the other side, we'll be okay and we'll be stronger. It may be horrible on the other side, because a lot of storms and tragedies in life are horrible. But we don't have to let them determine our ultimate fate and our ultimate destination in our life. And so when I was working on this book, it's like, how do I deal with these things that come up in our life? And how do I teach people? And so then it's like, oh, well, we had storms and weeds on the farm and we dealt with it. And, you know, a farmer, the storm comes, the storm goes away, you pick up and you move on. The storm that happens in the book, in the story, was the storm that I actually went through. And farmers just pick up and move on. And so that's the lesson of the storms and the weeds in the book. And that really kind of gelled the whole thing together, because it's pretty easy to set goals and you can come up with a plan. But once you come up against these hard times in life, it will then determine what kind of a person you really are.
Yes, that is the growth that happens. So many of us, we want to go back. We want to return. That place is hard. It's stressful. You know what? Take the opportunities and see how much stronger you can be as you go through them. And the thing is, you don't have to do it by yourself. You're not alone. You have family, you have friends, you have opportunities, you have so many things. I mean, you have books. I know many times when I'm in seeking need of comfort, I'll grab a book, a very special book that I totally believe in. And it gives me that comfort. It gives me that opportunity to know that I'm not alone, that I can get through the trial. Like you said, I think it's really key is that the storm, they end. Now, there might be a few in succession, right? There might be blizzard after blizzard or hurricane after hurricane, but they still end. They still will finally end. Weeds, they're never ending. They will pop up, but you can keep them under control. You can, as long as you accept that and you're not shocked and surprised that every day there's going to be a new weed popping up. You just, like you said, deal with it, work through it, and move forward. And it's not in a way that's ignoring. It's not in a way that, can be destructive. You can be very positive with all of these things going on, because like you said, as that tree grows, as the wind pushes it, we know the root system goes down deeper. We know that the strength lost my train of thought. Anyway, we know that the trunk, there we go. The trunk is also more stronger and more flexible the more the wind tosses it to and fro. Just like any of us, we know a muscle is strengthened when you use it and exercise with it. And those little tears, they get stronger and stronger because we know that the strongest tissue in our whole body is scar tissue, right? So right. With some of those challenges and trials, really, it becomes better. We just have to go through a little bit of pain, a little bit of challenge, and it's going to be okay, right? Right, everybody, 2020, you're going to be okay. It's okay.
And that's the beauty. I'll take an aside here. And that's the beauty of your book and your story.
Thank you.
Because there were storms. and you survived. But the beauty of it is you're here because you get to show people that you can survive. That's the beauty of your story, that it is survival. So
yes, thank you. Thank you for that, Mark. And it's true. You can get through things and you have the choice. I like what you said earlier. It's a decision. It's a decision to think,
right.
Okay, am I going to stand back up? Am I going to keep on going with the blood, sweat, and tears? Yeah. That's the drive. That's the, I don't know, what I was born with. And I think many of us, if not all, are. We just have to harvest that and harness it and allow that energy to propel us forward. So, Mark, as we kind of leave with the last word tonight, you'll have that. With 2021 just days away, what is something you would like to leave with the audience this evening?
Okay. You're going to hear over the next 2 or 3 days or 4 days or a week or whatever that you need to set New Year's resolutions. We all do it. We've all done it. New Year's resolutions don't work. 80% of New Year's resolutions are dumped by the end of February. So I challenge you to set a goal. Write it down. You have to believe that you can achieve it. And I teach a SMARTER framework. SMARTER stands for specific, measurable, attainable, risky, time-bound, exciting, and relevant. If your goal matches all of those, you've got a great goal. Then you can create the plan how to achieve it. Most people don't set goals because we don't teach you how to set goals the right way. That's what I teach. That's what I do. You need to set goals. I would love for you to get my book and learn how to set goals in your life and create a plan for your life, because too many people just let life happen. We found out in 2020, it doesn't work real well if we just let life happen and let somebody else control what happens in our life. So for 2021, commit to setting a goal or 2 or 3 for your life, for your future, for your family. And then spend some time creating a plan how you're going to get there. And I would suggest don't make your goal any further out than 3 years, because we can't think much further than that. And then set it for a year, set it for 6 months, 3 months, and a month. Very briefly, that's how you do it.
Excellent. So it sounds like you also have a program. So where are the places that we can find you? I know running down here on the ticker, we've got www.thesuccessgrower.com. That's where they can buy your book. Can they also buy it on Amazon? Where can they get a hold of you for your program? Share with us a little bit about that.
Yeah, you can get the book on Amazon. For some reason, I found out if you put in The Success Grower on Amazon right now, the book doesn't come up, so you got to put in my name. I don't know why. But on my website, thesuccessgrower.com, there's a tab for resources. And under that, there's some programs. There's the Planting the Seed, which is this one right here. And that is, it's an online program where you can learn all of this, all of these steps that I teach in a coaching group called Power to Prosper. So you can find Power to Prosper there. That is a small coaching group, live coaching group. There's Planting the Seed, that is an online course. And then there is a vision building course, because we all have this dream in our head of the life we want. And it helps you kind of put flesh on the vision. And yes, you're going to write it down. Everything you need to do, you've got to write it down. So there's a very simple vision building course, Planting the Seed, and then the Power to Prosper. And you can find it all there on my website.
Excellent. Thank you, Mark, so much. Everybody, thank you for popping in here live. We see some likes, we see some hearts coming out there. And now you know the best part about how to really make your 2021 a lot different than your 2020. So I encourage you to get out there, grab his book. It is an award-winning book. And take a look at some of his programs. You've got the ticker running down there beneath. And thank you so much, Mark, for joining us this evening on Beacon of Light. Bye, everybody.
Bye.